Hey mathematicians! I am so proud of all the hard work that you did to complete our multiplication unit. There was a lot of stuff to get through. Now we are moving on to our pre-division unit. This is all of the things that you need to understand before we can do division. And the very first thing that we need to understand in order to master division is something called a factor. So what is a factor? Well, let's actually go back to multiplication for a second. So let's say we have this multiplication problem. Let's use a darker color though. Okay, 6 times 3 equals 18. When you do a multiplication problem, the answer is called the product. But the two numbers that you multiply together to get your answer are called the factors. So, a factor is the numbers that are multiplied together to get another number. Okay, so here's that definition written out in words. What is a factor? Factors are the numbers that you multiply together to get a product. So in 6 times 3 equals 18, the 6 and the 3 are the factors. So how do we find out the factors of a number? Let's say that you are being asked to find all of the factors of 12. Well, you could probably sit here and start saying, I know that 6 times 2 equals 12. I know that 4 times 3 equals 12. And you could probably go on and on and on. But the thing is, mathematicians, we need to stay organized. So I'm going to show you a strategy to help keep your factor thinking organized. So instead of just listing things and going crazy and being disorganized, we're going to create a factor tree. It's just like this, a little T-chart. When you find all the factors of a number, to stay organized, we need to go in order. So we always start with 1. So first we need to ask ourselves, 1 times what would get me 12? Well, 1 times 12 would get me 12, right? Okay, so we started with 1. Now let's go to 2. 2 times what would get me 12? 2 times 6 would get me 12. So notice how I'm starting at 1, now I'm at 2, I'm going in order. So 1, 2, 3. 3 times what would get me 12? Well, 3 times 4. So I could write a 4. Now, mathematicians, after 3 is 4, but look, I already did 4 over here. So I don't need to do 4 again. So what about 5? 5 times what would get me 12? 5, 10, 15, nope. 5 doesn't work. I'm going to erase the 5. After 5 is 6, but look, I already have 6 right here. All right, continue. What about 7? 7 times what equals 12? 7, 14, 21. Nope, doesn't work. What about 8? 8, 16, 24. Nope. What about 9 or 10 or 11? Nope. And I already have 12. I'm going to cross out that 8. So I just found all of the factors of 12. whenever you write down a list of factors, you always write them in order from smallest to biggest. So we're going to start at the 1 and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 12. You can see it makes like a smiley face. So the factors of 12 are 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and 12. Mathematicians, notice that I separated my numbers with commas, right? Because otherwise it might look like 123 or like 12,340, you know. So we need to make sure we're using our commas in our list. So here are all the factors of 12. Let's do one more example. Okay, now I'm being asked to find all the factors of 28. So again, I'm going to start with my little T-chart, and I'll write 28 at the top, and I'm always going to start with 1. 1 times what equals 28? 1 times 28 equals 28. And then I'll move on to my 2. 2 times 14 equals 28. And then after 2, I will go to 3. I need to figure out if 3 fits into 28. I know that 3 times 9 is 27, and 3 times 10 is 30, so no 3. Okay, what about 4? I know that 4 times 7 is 28. Okay, what about 5? 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Nope, 5 does not fit into 28. What about 6? Let's count by 6s. 6, 12, 18, 24, 30. Nope, no 6. And now I'm actually back at 7, which I already have here. So what about 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12? I'm checking my times tables in my head, and I'm not getting anything. And then I already know that 14 times 2 is 28. So anything bigger than 14 is not going to work. So there it is. I can write them in a list. 1, 2, 4, 7, 14, and 28. Notice that I used my commas to keep everything organized. There are all the factors of 28. Let's say you were asked a slightly different question. Instead of having to find all the factors, you're being asked, is 5 a factor of 30? Remember, this unit is all about getting ready for division, right? So 5 would be a factor of 30 if it can fit into 30 perfectly with nothing left over. So can we do 30 divided by 5 without having anything left over? When you see this equation, 30 divided by 5, what I want you to think inside your brain is, how many 5s fit into 30? And we can count by 5s. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. And that was 6 5s. Since I could fit exactly 6 5s into 30, I can also realize something else. I now realize that 5 times 6 equals 30. And I know that factors are when you can multiply two numbers together to get a product. So 5 has to be a factor of 30. 5 can fit into 30 exactly 6 times. So is 5 a factor of 30? The answer to this question is yes.